gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Flank. I'm joined by the executive producer, Mr. Benji Nassim. I got Christopher Duarte, Parasite. I got the one and only Patrick Price, a.k.a. The Slayer, a.k.a. Aches. And we're here today live from Toronto, from Major 5, Toronto, day number 3. We had a lot of amazing matches here today, man. It was a long day, and we finally got through all the matches. Guys, what's going on? How you guys feeling? Guys feeling all right? We'll start with you, Ben.
Pretty
How you
good.
doing, bro?
I've been here since like 9 a.m. this morning. Stream. We were watching some Formula 1. Monica was pretty late. We watched,
nice.
We watched Borussia Dortmund absolutely bottled the league title today. Fucking bad, Tom. It was a bad choke.
I saw what's his face? Bellingham or whatever.
Musiala scored the game winner for Bayern.
That's my guy right there. Shout out to Musiala. He loves COD, by the way.
Loves COD. Big ZOOMAFIA fan.
Yep.
And the matches today were interesting. A bunch of 3-0s, couple of upsets, and a top 4 I don't think anyone predicted before the event, so I'm excited for Sunday.
Definitely not, Chris. How you doing, bro? You doing all right, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing good. A little tired. Long days.
Long day, man.
Long days, these events. But, I mean, we've had some incredible matches. Granted, some of the map scores have not reflected that. There's been a lot of close games and a lot of what-the-fuck moments for some of these teams. But, I mean, I couldn't really put it better than Ben did.
Yep. Pat, how you doing, Pat? You doing all right? What's going on?
Doing good, Tom. I'm doing good. I want to correct Ben, though. One person did predict this. He tweeted all of us that 2 days ago he tweeted out a bracket, and he had these exact spots with Rokkr and FaZe and winners.
Actually?
Like some random person?
Yeah, 2 days ago he tweeted
Wait, that's
out.
crazy. That is insane.
That's actually typical.
He didn't get the matchup, like the matches right, but he got the where each team is in the bracket currently is correct. So
oh, wow.
he also has New York beating Ultra, so we'll see about that. But
That's actually crazy.
Yeah, so it's a crazy day so far. It's kind of a repeater of that Saturday at Boston where all these teams are just getting smoked on Saturday.
Absolutely piss slam.
I mean, why do you think so many teams are getting 3-0'd? Do you think it's just like, what do you think it is?
Momentum's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's momentum. I don't know if it's just
Wait, have we been? I haven't checked up on it. Are we keeping track of the side cheese?
There's no fucking side cheese.
Day one, the side cheese was crazy.
Day one of side cheese was nuts. I've lost track of it because I just didn't care anymore.
Nah, there's no way, bro. There's no shot. Let's hop into the first series of the day. We had the Vegas Legion going up against the New York Subliners, and this is where the run from the Vegas Legion comes to an end. I think everybody was kind of rooting for Vegas, right? They needed a couple W's today in order to get into Call of Duty Champs, but unfortunately, the Vegas Legion falls short to the New York Subliners, and they do not make it to Vegas Call of Duty Champs. So it's definitely a little sad, right, to see some of the guys go out. We saw Clayster tweeting, and Donnie, and obviously TJ and Standy, all 4 of them. It's never easy when you got to go home, and obviously you got to watch Call of Duty Champs from home. And I know Clay's been doing this for a long time. He's 31 years old now, so I know he's looking to get that ring. And for him not to be able to get there, it's got to hurt. It's got to hurt for the Vegas Legion guys. And then on the other side, I thought the New York Subliners looked really good today. They're definitely hitting form, not only in this series, but the next series as well that we're going to talk about. You can take a look at the stat sheet here. It was definitely lopsided. They were just having their way with the Vegas Legion. It wasn't even close. What did he say?
Retweet the flank, right?
Or he'll beat our ass at dinner.
Okay, Gersh. I can't see shit with these lights. But yeah, no, I thought New York looked great. I think P-Dog is really coming up and stepping up to play. Priest has been doing his thing. I definitely think P-Dog's an X factor for these guys. If Priest could keep playing how he's playing, you know what you're gonna get out of Paco. You know Kismet's gonna be that unselfish. But I've talked about P-Dog and Skies, right? The AR players, I think, is where there was consistency problems throughout the year, but they have showed up this weekend. And they have been playing incredible, both Skies and Priesta. But, I mean, I'll let you kick it off, Ben. I mean, what did you think about this series? I thought New York just had their way, to be honest.
I mean, Vegas had a tough time against this New York Subliners team all season. Earlier this split, they actually did finally win one. So going to this matchup, I thought maybe they would have stemmed the tide. And it just didn't seem like from the rip, Vegas was able to deal with the pressure of New York. I thought that if we just scroll down and kind of take a look at the maps.
Yeah, I got it. Bro. Just tell me. I got it. I'll take care of it.
As you scroll down here, I mean, I thought the S&D was, like, pretty close. The control got a little mixy at the end, but
yeah.
I wasn't feeling great after the map 1 Embassy. That's normally been a pretty solid map for Vegas. And they really lost control of that map, like, pretty early on, and we're just kind of chasing. So, yeah, I mean, I feel these Vegas guys, I mean, at the end of the day, though, you know, they've dropped a lot of series this season against teams in the bottom 4. You really can't do that if you want to make champs. They've had a couple of real boogeyman teams they haven't been able to beat and then drop those points. I think just Vegas waited too late to turn it on and find the right team comp.
I mean, let's be honest, Chris Pat. I want to get your thoughts, but I just want to say, dude, Hydra's the hard carry, bro. Hydra's unbelievable. The amount of gaps that he's able to open for these guys and the amount of impactful plays he's able to make. I definitely think having him on your team can help you out a lot.
It's the same as Pred on Seattle, right? Like, it's pretty much the same thing for me.
I don't know about that, brother.
I think he's a different level, to
Hydra's
be
a
honest.
different
I think
ball
Pred's
game.
good, but like I think Hydra's I think a lot more aggressive than Pred. I think Pred plays more of a lurker style. But I mean, I think New York in general is just a better put together team regardless.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Just for the Vegas side, I mean, as much as I wanted to believe in the Cinderella story, I think they needed to have a run at Major 4. I think that was their opportunity. They arguably played a worse version of this New York Subliners team in the first round, and then they choked versus a worse version of the Florida Mutineers in a map, what was it, a map 5? So that was their opportunity to make up points and make a run. Going into this Major, yeah, they had that decent online stage, but we're coming to the end of the season. All the teams that they ended up having to play were essentially better versions of themselves, and it was just too little too late for Vegas.
Real quick, because I'm glad that you brought that up, Chris, that you said New York's a better team. I disagree entirely. So you guys know the stat that I gave you about Seattle, how they had only beat LAG on land since 2023? Well, got another one for you, Tom.
Okay.
The New York Subliners have only beat one team on land that's qualified for COD Champs in 2023. One team. And guess what that one team is? The Rokkr, arguably the worst one of all the teams that qualify for champs because they beat the no attachment.
So that was the stat you were keeping in your back
pocket.
pocket.
So
think about
Seattle
it.
might be worse than Rokkr,
The only
honestly.
wins.
That's interesting.
I think Seattle might be worse than Rokkr.
But notice
the old Rokkr, the old
how
Rokkr.
he put team that qualified for champs, which automatically narrows it even further.
Wait, that's still the 8 best teams. The only teams they've beat is London,
but that's not the
Vegas,
same.
Rokkr, LAG, and Florida.
That's not the same as Seattle, where they've only beat LAG.
No, I know, they're both horrible.
It's not even comparable,
But my
bro.
point is, New York Subliners are farming the bottom 4 teams, and they've gotten bracket blessed at a majority of events because they haven't faced – they've lost every time they went up against any team that's qualified for champs outside of Rokkr one time.
Well, they also beat Seattle that qualified for champs.
No, they didn't. They've never beat Seattle.
Wait, they've never beat Seattle.
That's actually a crazy stat.
They have no
That's
wins
actually an
against
insane
Optic
stat.
FaZe, LAT, Ultra Surge, or Boston.
That's actually crazy.
So do you think they just struggle against the top teams, Pat? Like, do you think they're just not going to be able to – what is it?
I think so, Tom, because, again, we're talking about the fact that Hydra is their hard carry. It's like you can't solo beat top teams.
Hey, that's cap, though. They beat Seattle at the grand finals of Raleigh.
I said in 2023, just like the Seattle stat. It was the same thing.
That was in 2023.
I said in 2023 both times.
One thing, okay, listen, as much as that stat is cool, is interesting, I'm not going to take any war into it because these guys have gotten eliminated.
They're noob slayers.
They've gotten eliminated mostly for the most part by like some of the better teams. They might not have, let's say, beat Seattle multiple times on land, but they never play Seattle because Seattle's always going out early. Like when these guys get eliminated from tournaments, yeah, they might not beat Toronto, they might not beat FaZe, they might not beat Thieves, Optic. They're always losing to those teams, and there are times where they put up fights. Like in the Toronto series that they played in Winners Finals, they fucking choked it.
Yeah.
The stat is interesting. It's nice to look at, but it's fucking bullshit.
But in 2023, they've been noob
Seattle,
slaying,
bro.
and they can't touch the top 8 teams.
All right. Well, apparently New York Subliners are noob slayers. They obviously made it into our top 4. We'll kind of get through some other series later, so we'll kind of break that one down. But we are going to be watching New York Subliners again tomorrow, Pat, so we'll kind of see how they come out. But let's hop into the next series of the day. We had the Minnesota Rokkr going up against the Florida Mutineers. We'll switch on over and take a look at the stats here once again. But the Minnesota Rokkr get the 3-0 victory, another 3-0 here over Florida. Florida just completely collapsed today. They did not look like themselves. We've seen it time and time again with Florida. They come to the event, they take down one of the best teams in the league, and then they just completely collapse the rest of the tournament. I don't know how many times we've seen it, but it's definitely been a lot. And then the other side, Minnesota Rokkr, the better they do, the dumber they look. To be honest, like the better they, because bro,
Yeah,
you bring
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
you
saying.
bring attach back in, you put but you picked up a superstar sub player in challenges, moved into an AR, and then it made absolutely no sense. You finally put him back in a sub. You bring Dylan attach back, and these guys look like a night and day difference. Definitely
That's
think
got to be wrong, though, right?
I think they're like 8-1. I think they're like 8-1 in hardcore.
Wait, but these stats got to be wrong, right?
Why? Why would you say they're wrong?
This looks like a one map stats.
Oh yeah, you're right.
These are off.
Yeah,
Okay.
these are off.
Wait.
You're right. You want to maybe hit a There's no way, right?
That's not even.
Maybe. Nah, there's no shot.
Yeah,
bro. There's no shot.
That's already enough. That's already more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, we're definitely missing the.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't
yeah.
have stats for the control. That's why.
That's interesting. Why not? That's weird.
And they probably gotta go back and fix it. But I mean, I would say this about Florida in this series. First off, you know, where we've talked about the Miami Heretics potential thing going on with the Mutineers. This might be their last event with this branding.
Yeah.
I thought as kind of mid sort of fellow Brack and Vickle played at times today. I thought Capsule was looking like Cap in the beginning of last year, like first couple events in Vanguard when he was just sort of in takeover mode. Gives some interesting thought to Mutineers on how they want to handle Capsule's situation, and maybe there might be sort of a market for him in the offseason and people looking for subs. But I agree with you. I think Florida, this is just the Florida we've seen too often. They beat Optic. That's their championship, and then they're just kind of out of here in 2 series.
I think Cap needs some help with this series. At the very least, I think Cap is talented enough to get a substitute spot if he doesn't get an offer starting. But, I mean, this whole Florida team just kicked up, and when it was kind of too late, they finally started to find their groove. Regardless of the showing today, I think in the last major and in their online matches and even at the beginning of this major, these guys shown that, like, at least quite a few of them, like, are good players, right? Because I think that's kind of what they were all trying to, like, come out here to do. They were trying to, like, win as many matches as they could and obviously show that these guys deserve to be in the league, because I think there was a lot of doubt in a lot of people's minds that, you know, Brack, Vickle, or, like, even for most part, the rookie, right? Like, Vickle, like, a lot of people at the beginning of the season with the original team were like, this guy's not that good, get him out. And then he turned up towards the end of the season for this team.
I think it says a lot about just the environment around you, right? Like certain players just shine in different environments and different cultures. And I definitely think this team had ups and downs. I think individually, I definitely think Capsule's like that one guy that stands out to me on this team. Like he's definitely the impact player. He's the guy who was keeping them in there. And whenever you needed somebody to go big, he was that player for him. But, I mean, Pat, what do you think about Minnesota Rokkr getting a 3-0 over Florida? They end up getting a top 3 spot going into tomorrow. They're going to be playing FaZe in the winners final. I mean, pretty impressive from the Minnesota Rokkr.
It's impressive that they didn't get eliminated early, Tom, but when you look at who they played Boston and Florida. And so
Boston and Optic?
Huh?
You said oh, wait, you're talking about Rokkr. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Florida.
Nah, I'm talking about Rokkr.
Rocker's played Boston and Florida, and for me, I mean, those two are pretty much not bottom of the barrel, but like our mid to worst teams in the league. So it's impressive either way, and I still think you know, we're gonna get a real test of Rokkr tomorrow when they play FaZe in the winter bracket final. But I mean, for me, I don't even care about how they perform at this event. It's the fact that they've looked so much better since making this roster change just makes me want to hold this organization accountable for the horrible moves they made mid-season, and honestly put them in a position to almost not qualify for champs, right? They picked up Fame, who was an SMG in Challengers, had him come in and run an AR on the team.
Yeah.
Drop Dylan. To me, they just made questionable roster moves all year long. Yeah, I would even say in the offseason as well. So, you know, it's good that they finally were able to kind of regain, but I think some accountability needs to happen for sure in this camp.
Pat, what is your offer to Rokkr? If they clean house in the offseason, what's your salary ask to go ahead?
I'll come down from 3 over 3 to 2.5 over.
Okay, that's a good discount.
Save a little money.
That's a good discount.
I'll save them a little bit as long as they don't make me live in Minnesota.
I was gonna say you gotta live in like wherever you want, right?
Yeah, that's a mandate.
Yeah, we obviously Minnesota, they get a spot. Florida, we will be seeing them again in a later series, so we'll get to that one. But let's hop into the next one of the day. This was a really good series. We have Atlanta FaZe going up against the Toronto Ultra. This is the home team. They had the home crowd. They were going crazy. This arena, this venue was bumping when these guys were playing. But just take a look at the stat sheet there.
Them like that?
Atlanta FaZe came out and, in my opinion, dismantled Toronto Ultra.
Yeah, they won 3 respawns in this series.
Listen, if you're any
team
team left in the tournament or any team left or any team going to champs, like you gotta be scared at this point, because the fact that although the embassy was close, the search and destroy.
Oh, they were close
They
maps,
arguably
bro.
should have
they
won
were
it.
all close maps except for the control.
In the 6-5 or whatever. The fact that they were able to lose a search and destroy in a series and still win the series convincingly is pretty scary for the rest of the league.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I said that Atlanta FaZe dismantled them.
Game
Looking
four was
back,
close.
it was close.
They dismantled them in the slang.
Yeah, in the slang. In the slang,
The control was surprising. I think after 1-1, we thought we haven't seen FaZe win an Expo this year, and they absolutely slammed Ultra on that map bad and grabbed a lot of momentum. I think for me, a couple of key things. First off, I think we can kind of put in the box now that FaZe really solved a lot of their hardpoint issues. We've seen them now. They won 4 straight at LAN. I think they're 9 out of their last 10 Ws in hardpoint. They haven't lost the control so far at this event. And a weird embassy stat is they've lost MC 3 times this year, and they've all been round 11s. They never gotten blown out in embassy. So I think right now, and you kind of brought up on the watch party, Chris, they've kind of solved a lot of map pull issues. They look really confident on Fortress. They got Expo control now in the bag. It's just going to be really hard to match up with this team, and I feel pretty good about them tomorrow, probably potentially being your favorite to win.
The one thing that I will say is they've been beating – so their hardpoint records or wins have been coming from beating a lot of teams that were, in the bottom 4 and just not very good in general. And then even here when they beat Toronto had that question going into this major where, they were still winning series, but they weren't winning a lot of hardpoints. So they aren't beating, a lot of particularly good hardpoint teams. Right now, surprisingly enough, I think the best hardpoint team currently in this stage outside of Optics Online, stint has been the Rokkr. The Rokkr are 8-1 or something like that.
Yeah, their hardpoint's been really good.
They've been automatic in hardpoint basically since adding Attach and Fame back onto the roster or whatever.
Yeah.
So funny enough, I think this is going to be FaZe's test of hardpoint
But who
and
have
how
they
much
played?
they've actually improved.
Who's Rokkr beating hardpoint?
Rocker's had a pretty harder split than.
No, but you said they're 8-1. Who have they beaten that 8-1?
I'll tell you if you give me 1 second.
Yeah,
So
but-
this stage, Rokkr has played London, Boston, Vegas, Thieves, Ultra, Boston, Florida.
That's
They
not bad.
Wait,
They beat
all
Boston,
I heard was
they beat
Ultra
Boston
and
twice.
Thieves.
They've beat Thieves.
Wait, all I heard was Ultra and Thieves. What's
Well, they played Boston twice.
yeah, who cares? They're
Vegas.
horrible.
Vegas has been a pretty good hardpoint team. London, not so much.
Meh.
And on the FaZe side, if you're curious,
It's
in terms
fucking
of who they played,
LAG. Fucking.
Listen, but either way,
Who
you
cares
said
that they're-
Ultra and Thieves. What did they win both respawns against them? Both hardpoints?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe they did because they're undefeated right now in hardpoint. Are they
They've
not?
lost
Yeah, I think
one,
so.
so they've had to have.
they
one they
lost.
lost
They
was,
lost the
who
hardpoint
knows?
to with Dylan.
Um,
I'm scrolling. Give me a second.
No, you're good. Take your time. Yeah, I definitely want to give a huge shout out to some of the players. I thought Simp played really fucking good, and I think he's been really kicking up. And also, of course, MC. I think MC, his consistency. But we know we're getting from Abe. A lot of people calling him MVP. But even Slasher, man, I feel like we got to give Slasher his props. He's been really, really good for these guys. Slasher's been really turning up for Atlanta FaZe. And I'm not really too sure what happened to Toronto Ultra here in the slaying department. I thought they were going to put up a better fight when it came to the kills. Because you know what Toronto Ultra brings to the table. But maybe it was a little bit of a wake-up call for Toronto. Because they definitely came out in the next series against Thieves and looked a lot better.
I think a lot of their
They have,
superstars. Sorry, go ahead.
Rokkr has not lost the hardpoint with Dylan. They're undefeated.
Oh, so they
The
haven't lost
Ultra
one.
or did they beat Ultra and Thieves?
Yeah.
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 All of the 4 teams they played since
They're
they
a
By the
good
way,
hardpoint
they're
team.
good.
They're a
They've
good
been
hardpoint
good at
team.
hardpoint lately.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So like I said, that's going to be their true test. Also, I think what I said earlier was they solved a lot of their map pool issues. They started playing Expo. They showed that they can literally blow a team out in Expo control. So that's going to help them in the later stage of the tournament. They make that grand finals where they have a little bit more leeway with their vetoes. They played a Fortress, which was their worst map. They left it in the series, and we've talked about this. I'm like, dude, look at the people on their team. There's no way these guys are going to be bad at Fortress. Play the fucking map.
Yeah.
Leave it in. So now they're playing Fortress, which means that they can get Hydro out, which is good in the case that they play like a team like Ultra, or if prior to today they would have played maybe Thieves, if Thieves made it that far, or even now New York's still in the tournament. That's another good Hydro team. So
Yeah.
they have options. They're in a really good spot now, and I think they've solved a lot of their map pool issues.
Yeah, I mean, Pat, any final thoughts on the series overall with Atlanta FaZe getting that 3-1 victory over Toronto Ultra? I thought FaZe looked good. I think they're looking strong.
Yeah, they're looking good. Two things. This was a series where Simp and Abizi were the best 2 players in the lobby. We haven't seen that often with this FaZe team.
MC played pretty good too.
They
Right,
all
I'm talking
played
about
well. All four of
statistically,
them
if you
played
look at it,
well.
like Simp and Abizi being the best 2 in the lobby is a
Well, their subs dropping.
that's a difference maker.
1-3 and a 1-2
yeah,
is
yeah.
insane.
And I think that's why the slang was the way it was. But something to take note of: Ultra actually won the round 11 here, and also won the round 11 S&D in their next series. So you know, aside from losing this, they're at least looking pretty icy this.
Starting to clutch up. They were really struggling with S&Ds.
They were 0-5 map 5s, and
Yeah,
going into
they've had
the
some really tough ones with S&Ds down the stretch, but good that they're starting to ice
The
up.
one thing that I will say about Toronto is up until this point, we have not seen the level of Scrappy that we know from the prior majors and even in his online stint, because he was basically like a 99 rated player coming into the tournament, and he's been relatively quiet up until this point. But he ends up picking up.
he was still dropping some damage.
Yeah,
though.
he was. I mean, I know, but like you see what I'm saying. He ends up kicking up later. So
yeah, I mean he was doing his thing. I definitely think FaZe has been looking better in their hard points. I mean we've even been I've been tuning in a little bit, talking to Crowder and seeing some of their scrims, and I know Austin said it on stage, but. I mean, they've been looking good in hardpoint and scrims. It's just when they come to the events, it just hasn't been clicking for them in this game mode, or even in just matches online. Like their hardpoint just hasn't been clicking when it matters, and maybe they found the formula to get it to click, where it matters, when it matters most. So we'll see. They play a really good team tomorrow in hardpoint. I think it's gonna be a really good test for FaZe, and see exactly how good their hardpoint has gotten. And of course, Minnesota Rokkr. Undefeated in hardpoint moving forward, so we'll see what happens. What happened? You want to skip this one, Slayer?
Bro,
I mean, we don't gotta
get some help in this
we don't gotta spend much time on this one, folks. I mean, we had the Florida Mutineers go up against the New York Subliners. I'm just gonna straight up say, the Florida Mutineers got absolutely pissed on.
Yeah,
they got pissed
Capsule
on.
went
They got
35
stopped
to 24 and L in a hard point. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Capsule was actually going fucking crazy for these guys. And honestly, when they lost, just to look on his face, you could tell he really wanted to win.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, damn, guys.
He was
like
giving
I said, this is
everything
the
he
cap
had
we
out
saw early on last year. I think for teams like Seattle that might have a number of players turnover, maybe Rokkr decide to go in a different direction with their team. Capsule could be an interesting kind of project player. Does sometimes go rogue, but you see that he has a takeover potential in him. He's got that high ceiling. I think he's done a lot. And I think Vickle as well is another player who I think has really kind of raised his stock in the last couple of weeks. So I know this is tough for Florida. They're kind of their season's over, but I thought this was a really good effort from them in Stage 5 and wanted to tip my hat off to the work they've done the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was a good effort. I worry about where some of these guys are going to be next year just because of the rumors with Miami Heretics, which I'm guessing they're probably going to go with a Spanish team, right? If it's going to be Miami Heretics, like they probably already have plans on who they think the roster is going to be. And is that 100%? This Miami shit?
The org hasn't confirmed it, but as far as I've heard behind the scenes, nothing makes me suggest on the other side.
Did you look it up on the copyright, or what is it? The trademark? Is it trademarked? Miami
I think
Heretics?
that's where it came from.
That's where it came from, right? Well, that's interesting because I don't really know who's still going to be here, who's not going to be here. I mean, realistically, what would you guys do with the roster? Are you keeping anybody here? I know you're going to keep a Spanish team. I know. Yeah,
I'd probably squad wipe, maybe keep Capsule on a sub role if I can't sell him.
I think if no one's interested in Cap, you keep him on as a sub, simply because if they're gonna go with the Miami shit, they're gonna go on brand. They're gonna go fully out there, if that's their intention. Also, I think I mean I don't really know the inner workings of their team, but I'm sure Fellow definitely helped. Fellow was one of those people that a lot of people said was like a good IGL.
Yeah.
He definitely probably
brings a lot to a team.
He probably helped out that camp a lot because prior to him joining the roster, even before they subbed out Havoc and brought Vickle in, like these guys started to make marginal improvements with Fellow and Cap on the team, and I feel like Fellow, although he might not put up the best stats, he probably helped this team get on the same page a lot better than prior iterations of the Mutineers.
Yeah, would love to see Tyler Fellow keep playing and find a spot somewhere. I think he brings a lot to a team in terms of leadership and just knowledge. I know Dallas Empire gave him a lot of credit when he was with them and kind of coaching them a little bit over there. And I think he's helped these guys out a lot. I definitely think throughout the year, this is probably the best iteration of the Florida
So you think he
Mutineers.
should coach?
Or maybe? Yeah, I was going to say maybe he could be a coach.
Maybe
he could be a coach if they
I'm sure
bring
he
in a
wants to
Spanish
play.
team.
I'm sure he wants to play.
Yeah,
I
of
don't think
course.
he wants to hop
Just
into
saying.
a coaching role just yet.
Do the
But
Spanish guys have a coach?
I don't know, but you got to know Spanish to coach them.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't know if Tyler Fellow could speak Espanol. So
I don't think he's that good.
Arriba, he's good.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And on the other side, I think the New York Subliners, again, comfortable. I thought Kismet had a really good series. I thought they played well. They look really confident. Skies even said on stage that they feel like they're hitting that form that they had at Major 1, where they won the event. So they're definitely feeling really confident. You can see it in their gameplay. You can see it when they're playing. They're just making good plays on the map. They're working together really well. and everybody's just pulling weight. I think it's always a dangerous look when everybody from top to bottom is doing what they got to do. So, any final thoughts on the New York, Florida? We don't got to spend too much time on this one. I mean, Florida got bodied. They ended up losing. They went 0-6 map count today, so it just wasn't a good day for Florida.
We haven't really gassed Paco. Paco was insane about these series. Like,
I mean, I was gassing the fuck out of Paco before.
I
didn't want to keep blazing.
If New York
but
make this run,
insane.
he's going to get MVP. Guys having an incredible season. They have a big test tomorrow versus a team in the series we're going to talk about next. The Toronto Ultra in front of this home crowd. If New York can win that series, I like that momentum. Could be a very dangerous team if they make it to the grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go into the final series of the day. We had the Los Angeles Thieves go up against the Toronto Ultra. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I thought this one was going to be a little bit closer. I thought Thieves was going to put up a better fight than this. They go up against Toronto. I thought Thieves looked pretty good. We're back on land. I thought they were back on their bullshit. I know they had a rough online stage. But today was just not their day against Toronto Ultra. You can see Ultra just kind of put them to bed. Envoy had a really tough series. Felt like he struggled a little bit today. I also just felt like watching him that things just weren't going his way. Just like
yeah, he even tweeted he was like, I just couldn't get a routine kill.
Yeah, like just sometimes it felt like his timings were off, or he was just getting stuck by nades, or fucking frags were rolling towards him and shit. Just like
27 assists though.
Yeah, 27 assists, and he was also throwing some damage down. You know, it's not like him and Kenny kind of had the same amount of damage. You know, it wasn't like he was getting super pooped on, but I just felt like things weren't going their way. I mean, what do you guys think happened to the LA Thieves
I don't
today?
really know if I like the map pool they got, bro. They got 3 hotels in a row, and
Yeah, they
like
did.
for me, I don't think that Thieves are particularly strong at hotel maps. Like they're okay at them, but just getting 3 of them in a row was just so weird to me.
Yeah.
Which one do they pick?
And then on top of that, for Toronto,
they picked
the
Hotel
far-
S&D. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I think the interesting thing for Thieves, and we saw FaZe do it as well. I don't think anyone wants to play Toronto on Hydro because they're like low key the best Hydro team in the game.
Thieves was low key like one of those teams too, though.
Yeah, but maybe they lose it a lot to Toronto on scrims. And that's why they don't want to play in the real series.
I will say though, on Hydro, Envoy is probably one of the best subs on that map. So I like that matchup for Thieves. I think I would have went with that, even though we know how good Toronto is at it.
The thing is, though, like realistically watching this match, I feel like I have not seen this matchup like for the majority of the season. I could be wrong. I wonder how many times these teams have played, let alone played at a major. I don't know if these guys have played at a major yet.
I'll tell you how many times they played this season.
Ben could probably figure it
Yeah,
out.
because dude, have we seen Ultra play? It's
a rare one.
I feel like it's so rare.
Hasn't happened much. Do want to show some love to some of the guys over on Ultra. I thought Kleenex and Scrappy today were spectacular, especially in the first couple maps. I thought they were pretty much just going off themselves. They're just doing it all themselves. I mean, obviously, Insight and Hixie bring a lot to the team as well.
Jamie's clutch, bro.
So they have played 5 times. So these stats are very interesting. They've actually played 5 times. These have only beat them once, and the map count is 5-12. They've actually got kind of slammed. They've won one of the 5 searches and one of the 5 controls.
Wait, but what's the land version of that?
I'll tell you. So Toronto
Because
Played them.
These teams are probably the worst online matchup,
Toronto
right?
played them at the Major 2 Major and 3-0'd them. Played them at Major 1
So Major 1 and 2.
and beat them. Played them at Major 2 qualifiers, Major 5 qualifiers, and then at the Major. So they played them 3 times on land and beat them all 3 times.
Oh, wow. Thieves, or Toronto have Thieves' number then.
Actually, no. Thieves beat them at Major 2. I'm sorry. So 2-1.
2-1?
Yeah, so
Oh,
they
okay.
played earlier in the season. That's
Never
probably
mind.
why we
Yeah.
haven't seen them. It's probably why it feels like that. It was all early season.
I just feel like watching Thieves play right now, just something feels off. Like, for a team I thought where the comms are really good, it seems like they miss a lot of assignments. They get 2-pieced a lot, like not expecting certain angles. They're just not. They seem to really struggle with dealing with some of the aggression. And again, I part of that might just be the hardpoint hotel control kind of fugazi in this series. And the S&D was really, really weird. And I think Sam had a potential opportunity to maybe make a game-winning play at the end and kind of decided not to chase the kill and go a little bit rogue. At the end, it's a kind of a big what if.
You're asking him
Yeah.
to 1v4, though.
Huge what if. But
You know?
Sam had a
I thought
chance to
Sam should have clutched the
1v4.
1v4.
It would have changed a lot in that series.
You
Yeah,
know
there
what
was
I
a
mean?
lot. I think Insight's a low key one of their like clutchest player, if not clutchest players. I think
Yeah,
Scrap
Insight's
and
a good
Kleenex
player.
are raw, but like Insight in a lot of like weird gritty situations
the
or in like
backbone.
1v1s, like you can rely on him a lot to make
Yeah.
the like right play and win you a situation.
I got to say during this series, by the way, first off, the crowd was amazing. There was some asshole sitting in the front, just ruining S&D plays. But that'll get dealt with probably tomorrow.
Wait, what about the guy that was screaming?
But people were
That guy
screaming.
was just hyped up.
People were chanting. People were chanting 0-7 when Avo was getting smoked in the S&D. There was a "fuck you Draza" chant multiple times. Like the
I want
crowd was getting
context on
lit.
that one though. Why did that start?
The "fuck you Draza" chant.
Yeah.
I think
It's been like that since last year.
Draza's always Draza chirps a lot, and then there's
Yeah.
a whole drama with his girlfriend and like
A lot of people
giving
don't like
away
him.
shit. So like he just gets a lot.
He likes
of
being
hate.
the villain, just like you, Pat.
I mean, I
Yeah.
chirped a lot. I never heard like "fuck you, egg chance." I never heard
Nah,
that.
it's
The fact
just a
that
new
nobody
gimmick
had the
now.
balls, bro.
Yeah, no one had the balls back then. Now people,
Be like that.
bro, Draws was getting those chants last year at Major 4.
There,
Like
back in the
York.
day, were there chants like that? Like
No,
for anybody?
No, all the fucking crowds were quiet as fuck.
No, they were
outside,
all quiet.
no,
but they weren't,
outside
like player
they weren't
specific.
player specific like hater. It was just like team
Okay.
stuff, right? The only crowd that was like different was like the London crowd.
Yo, imagine
the
a "fuck
European
you"
ones.
TP chant back in the day.
Fuck you,
Fucking
DP.
insane, bro. Obviously, yeah, that was all the matches today. So it was all 3-0s, except for the
for one-
Atlanta FaZe match, which was a 3-1. But I thought Toronto looked great. They ended up taking down Thieves 3-0. Really good series from them. They obviously move on to the top 4. Crowd was going absolutely nuts. Let's switch on over and take a look here at the schedule real quick. Let me just switch on over. Click this here. A little hard to use this mouse.
Boom.
Boom, bada bing, bada boom, boom, boom. We take a look at tomorrow and see what's going on. We got Atlanta FaZe going up against the Minnesota Rokkr in the winners final. Whoever wins that will be going to the grand final. This is going to be an absolutely insane match. And then whoever loses, of course, will go down and play the New York Subliners in the losers bracket. So this is your top 2. You got
No, actually,
Atlanta
wait.
FaZe,
So this is actually wrong. So
Minnesota.
we have
New
refresh
York.
it, Tom. Refresh the page.
Yeah, what's going on here? It's a little laggy, so bear with me here.
Yeah, refresh it because
Okay.
that's actually losers semis. So you have FaZe versus
There you go.
Minnesota,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah,
New York, Toronto will be after that, and
Beautiful.
then
Beautiful.
the winner, the loser of the first one, winner of the second one. Will play each other.
Right. So winner of the second one moves on, loser goes home, and then whoever loses between FaZe and Minnesota will play the winner of New York Ultra. So should be a great match, or should be a lot of great matches. Obviously, these are your top 4. A lot of people didn't expect this to be the top 4. I mean, did you guys expect this to be the top 4? I don't think a lot of people saw
Honestly,
Minnesota
no.
or New York in here.
Yeah, I expected Thieves and Optic to be.
Yeah, I
this
think a
with
lot
them,
of people
but-
were expected those teams
I mean,
to be in there.
again, we we saw this at Major 4. Like, it doesn't surprise me the bracket the way it works out sometimes. Like, Rokkr is top 4 based on or top 3 based on beating Boston and Florida.
Yeah, but that's because Florida lost. to
I know,
Optic.
but I'm
It's
saying like New York is top 4 based on beating Florida, Vegas, and London.
yeah. What happened with this bracket is like teams like Thieves and Optic kind of trolled
But
positions.
Thieves did bad online.
Seattle
Optic
like
lost
kind of not
first
being a
round.
factor. So like,
That's why the top 4s are always just like it's hard to really take full weight because it doesn't show the full picture. That's why I'm excited for champs.
Yeah, chance to be exciting. Obviously, you got the
no
top 8
freebies.
teams at champs, no freebies. But whether or not, you got to give him props. Minnesota, they made a change. Dylan goes to the bench. He comes back. Now he gets a top 3 placing. Atlanta FaZe, once again, back in the top 3. Got to give them props as well. And then for the New York Subliners, I know they got obviously that major one championship. They've been looking for another one ever since, and they haven't really been themselves since that championship. So I know they're definitely looking to come out tomorrow and show people what they got. And then, of course, we got Toronto Ultra, which is the home team. They're the home team. They got the crowd rooting for them. They got the energy here in the venue. I say we go on board with some predictions and give our thoughts. We got Atlanta FaZe going up against Minnesota. Who do you guys think is winning that series? I'm personally going to go with Atlanta FaZe. I actually think Atlanta FaZe is going to go all the way and get this W here this weekend. But, I mean, Ben, who do you got?
you know, interesting thing about this series is I looked it up is Rokkr. FaZe are 2-1 against Rokkr, but both the wins are game 5s, and one of them was at LAN. So I think Rokkr presents some kind of weird challenges for FaZe in terms of their play style, but I think FaZe should be on paper the better search team. So we'll keep the 3-2 kind of trend going. I think FaZe is probably more likely to clutch up in a game 5, but don't be surprised this one goes a distance.
The vetoes of the series are going to get really weird because I think a lot of Rocker's success in hardpoint lately has stemmed from getting like Mercado
Yeah.
and Fortress. And Mercado is a map that FaZe usually would play in series, and lately Fortress is a map they've not been afraid to let in. Also, Rokkr liked Hydro before, so there's a lot of like weird situations that come with these vetoes, and I'm curious to see what maps we're going to get because I feel like this one's going to get really fucking weird.
Listen, guys, as much as you want this to be close, this is going to be a 3-0 smoke show.
Ooh.
It's not even going to be close.
You think so, Pat?
I think they're going to show up and dust them quick.
Does anybody disagree with that at all? I don't know if it'll be a 3-0 because I could see Minnesota taking a map or two. But I think it'll be a good series, and I think Atlanta FaZe is going to get the W. And then, of course, we have New York Subliners going up against Toronto Ultra. I think Ultra's going to take that one. I think New York had looked good, but I think Toronto, compared to who New York has played so far, I think Toronto's going to be a little bit of a different ball game for them. I think, obviously, with the crowd on their side, too. I think.
Wait a second, Tom.
Yep.
We might need to open an investigation for real. Remember how I told you guys New York subbed in that Wardy last minute, right?
Yeah.
I bet they looked at the bracket and predicted it out and saw if they threw that match, then they would have got this easy cheese loser bracket.
Isn't that true though? Isn't that true that if they would have played, if they would have won that match, they would have had a different bracket, right?
Yes.
And they probably could have. They could have seen
that.
They
could have done that out. The coaches do that all the time.
Give me a fuck.
I wanted it.
There needs to be an investigation now.
Fuck off.
NBA's opening investigations against referees. I can't get the CDL to look into the NYSL coaching staff.
No
they would have had Toronto's bracket.
shot.
Who did Toronto? So Toronto beat. If Toronto beat New York, then played who? FaZe.
They would have had this freebie losers
They would have lost.
run.
So New York would have lost to FaZe, and then Ultra would have. Yeah, they would have had to play Thieves.
Yeah, they would have had a way harder run. Because they were the last match in the online stage. They would have known what the bracket would have looked like.
Well, does anybody have Toronto, or does anybody have New York taking down Toronto?
I actually do. I think so this is the time where they get over. So listen, they might not have been beating like really good teams, but I think they've got a lot of reps under their belt being in this loser bracket for so long, and they've got a ton of confidence over the last couple of weeks and matches that they've played here, even at this tournament, where they're finally going to step up and get over that hurdle. I think every single player on this team has been playing really well. I think they choked the winner's bracket match against the Ultra, and I don't think they're going to squander the opportunity to put these guys away again. I think this is the time where they get over their hurdle. Maybe I'm just coping, but at the same time, I want to see New York do well.
Some serious copium, but I got Toronto, Tom.
You got Toronto. Chris got New York. Ben, who do you got? You got Toronto or New York?
Let's look up the historicals on this matchup real quick. New York is 1-4 against
Ooh,
Toronto.
Dougie.
Only beat them in 1 out of 5 controls. It seems like they played a lot of hotel in this series. I thought New York played really good today. I think it's really just a question of which version of Toronto are we going to get. Are we going to get the one from day one, the slaying was difficult, and the one in the FaZe series, or the one we saw against Thieves looked like they were flying? I'm going to say that the home crowd carries Toronto to a game 5er, but it's not a clean series. It's sketchy. New York has some key moments, but in classic New York fashion, they toss the game 5 S&D and go out top 4 at this event.
All right, so if you guys had to pick a champion to win the whole entire thing, who do you guys got? I mean, right now we do got challengers up. Doug is playing for top 3 here in challengers, so they're looking to win this overtime with 30 seconds left. But while we watch this overtime, who do you guys got winning the whole thing? I already said I got FaZe. Ben, who do you got?
I think the team with the deepest map pool right now in the best form is probably FaZe.
Okay, so you got FaZe.
Yeah.
All right, and we got Christopher Duarte. Who you feeling,
I
Chris?
also have FaZe.
Okay, so we all have FaZe. Pat, do you have FaZe? So all 4
I
of
got
us
them beating
have
Toronto
FaZe.
4-2 in the grand final.
All right, so we'll see what happens. You guys drop in the comments down below or put in the chat who you guys think is going to win. And watching the rest of this overtime, looks like Boston Academy is going to fall into the losers bracket. Looks like they're all over. Looks like they're done with. This is winners, right? So they're not out
winners. So yeah, they just got 3 out.
So
Wobble
just
Bob's
like
looking
that.
good.
Yeah, Wobble Bobs, they continue to do their thing. I know there's been a lot of noise around some of these guys, especially Abuza, right? A lot of people have been talking about Abuza. Definitely want to pay more attention to challengers. There's a lot of talent in challengers, so want to pay close attention down there, see what's going on over there. But Boston Breach Academy will fall to the losers bracket as they're looking to get some W's there in challengers. The pit down there has been nothing but straight passion. But guys, as always, man, we appreciate everybody showing love, everybody tuning in, and everybody on the YouTube side of things as well. You guys are absolutely incredible. ZooMAFia, you guys are insane. ZooMAFia to the moon. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Anchor.fm/Flank. Check out all the audio says we're on. Go follow at the Flank on Twitter. Gert's doing a phenomenal job running socials per usual. Guys, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We got a lot of amazing matches. We got the top 4 teams. We're going to crown our champion. They're going to get their squirrel trophy, and it's going to be an absolute amazing championship Sunday. I'm excited to get into it. So we'll see you guys tomorrow on another episode of The Flank, man. And I'll see you on the watch party, man. Take care. Brush. you hear? And we'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Take it easy.